We have been led to believe that masturbation is a completely normal act. But to what extent? How many times a day can one engage in this act without being considered addicted? What if you find yourself unable to stop? Let us address these questions and reveal why you should cease this practice today, an act that appears normal but conceals a perilous trap for your life. Before we proceed, I must apologize for the dramatic introduction, but it was necessary to draw your attention to this pressing issue of the 21st century that weakens and harms our youth and adults, stripping us of our willpower. In this discourse, you will gain an understanding of what transpires in our brains, both scientifically and philosophically, and what the teachings of Stoicism have to offer regarding this vice. Remember to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so you do not miss any updates. Let us begin. Modern medicine clearly states that masturbation is completely normal, not only in humans but also observed in dogs and other mammals. However, this perception of normalcy was not always prevalent. In the past, masturbation was deemed immoral, especially for men, as unproductive seed production hindered reproduction. For women, it was believed that masturbation could distance them from men by finding pleasure independently. This moral burden was compounded by the physical burden, with claims that masturbation caused diseases, making it inadvisable to practice. The problem. Returning to the present, what do we know about masturbation, particularly for men suffering from insomnia? It is known to induce sleep. The French Institute of Health and Medical Research concluded that the male brain deactivates sexual desire after orgasm. The cerebral cortex, responsible for conscious thought, goes to rest once climax is reached. This, in addition to nullifying the desire to continue sexual relations, facilitates sleep. Hence, many men fall asleep after sexual activity. But what is the problem? Hidden within one of its benefits lies a trap. Masturbation releases dopamine in your brain, a hormone responsible for making us feel better, providing calm, stress relief, and a sense of reward. This dopamine-induced pleasure can lead to addiction. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders classifies excessive masturbation under hypersexuality disorder, a category of obsessive-compulsive disorder. This vice can lead to mental and familial destruction. In many cases, you may lose control, becoming a slave to your desires, seeking relationships with prostitutes, engaging in sex with multiple partners, and consuming excessive pornography. These are ways a dopamine-saturated brain seeks pleasure. Addiction to masturbation stems from chemicals released in the brain. As our brain adapts to these releases, it continually seeks the stimuli that generated the initial pleasure. Your brain will demand more dopamine to achieve the same pleasure, leading you to masturbate repeatedly. This cycle reaches an exaggerated point when your brain, realizing the excessive dopamine release, begins to block receptors in an attempt to stop you. As a result, the act of masturbation no longer provides pleasure, leading to frustration. At this point, you may wonder what Stoicism has to do with this. The Stoics, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, masters of self-control and wisdom, viewed pleasure and lust from a unique perspective. From the words of Epicurus to the intimate thoughts of Seneca, they explored the depths of human passions, a legacy that still captivates us. For the Stoics, masturbation was not merely a quest for carnal satisfaction but an opportunity to explore the limits of the body and mind. They saw it as an exercise in self-awareness and a path to true freedom. In their philosophy, mastery over worldly passions and pleasures was a conquest that elevated the human spirit. Epicurus asserted that it is not nights of pleasure but self-control that distinguishes a good person. The ability to enjoy pleasure while understanding and containing it marks someone who has reached a higher level of self-awareness. Instead of being slaves to our desires, we must be their masters, as Seneca reminds us with his philosophical perspective. Stoic reflection on masturbation is not simply about repression but deep understanding and self-mastery. This translates into the ability to direct our emotions toward a journey of conscious self-exploration. It resides not only in momentary satisfaction but in understanding, accepting, and embracing our deepest inclinations. From the Stoic perspective, every action has consequences, not only for us but also for the natural order of the universe. When we succumb to our most intense desires, as in the case of uncontrolled masturbation, we lose that harmonious connection with nature highly valued by the Stoics. We become prisoners of our desires, drifting away from true inner serenity. Compulsive masturbation can trigger an emotional whirlwind within us, where guilt, shame, and dissatisfaction become constant companions. The Stoics teach us to control our intense emotions through introspection and self-regulation. By consciously facing our emotions, we learn to manage them healthily and constructively. Allow me to share a personal inspirational story. I know someone who struggled with compulsive masturbation, seeking momentary refuge and pleasure but facing an emotional storm after each act. Immersing themselves in Stoic teachings and practicing self-control and self-regulation, this person underwent a profound transformation. They learned to confront their desires and emotions consciously, finding true joy in self-control. They now live a life of inner peace and authenticity, free from the slavery of momentary desires. True satisfaction comes from living in accordance with our deepest principles and values. When we yield to fleeting desires, we lose sight of what we truly value in life. Compulsive masturbation can distance us from our noblest purposes and veer us away from the true happiness found in virtue and inner peace. By practicing meditation and mindfulness, we can promote the mental serenity needed to resist temptations and face our emotions healthily. This compulsion becomes an obstacle to mental serenity, dragging us into regrets and steering us away from the peace found in self-control and moderation. My friend, what are you doing with your life? Do you think sitting at home, watching those videos, and taking pleasure with your hands can make you confident and successful? Do you think wasting your time and energy on such acts can attract a partner? No, never. So, my friend, think wisely. Write in the comments that you are a powerful person, you have control over your mind, you choose to do what motivates you, and you choose to do what improves you. Thank you for staying with me. Like the video and subscribe for more.